Okay, so we've all been there, right? Stuck in another virtual meeting, another phone call. It's like totally essential now, especially with remote work. But man, sometimes they just fall flat. You hang up and you're just drained, thinking, did we actually do anything? Or was that just an hour gone?
Mhm.
What is it that makes some of these calls really productive, like real progress happens, while others feel like a complete waste of time? Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. Phone meetings, what works, and what gets in the way. Oh, and we're drawing some key insights from the book Project Manager for Project Managers by Orlando Casabone. The idea is to give you some practical tools, really, to make your remote meetings way better.
Yeah, that's exactly the mission. We want to clearly separate the useful stuff, the practices that actually boost communication and get people involved from the habits that just cause confusion or inefficiency. Because understanding this difference, it isn't just about making meetings less painful. It can genuinely improve how your team connects and, honestly, the results you get together. We're trying to find those little tweaks that unlock, the team's real potential online.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The first insight is one that maybe feels a bit counterintuitive, especially when everyone's busy. It's the power of starting meetings with, like informal chat, small talk. I hear people push back on this. No time for chit chat, get straight to business. How do you respond to that, especially remotely?
It's a common reaction, but I think it misses something fundamental about teamwork. This simple act, just chatting for a few minutes, it goes way beyond just being polite. Research, and it's reflected in the book's points too, shows that even 5 minutes of this informal talk can seriously boost psychological safety. Think about it: when you connect just a little bit on a human level, you're probably more likely to speak up later, maybe with a different idea, or admit you're unsure about something.
Right.
And that's so crucial online, where you lose all those nonverbal cues, the nods, the eye contact. So by starting this way, you're sort of creating an environment where everyone feels their voice actually matters, not just their agenda item. It helps turn a group of individuals into more of a team.
That's a really strong point, connecting that soft start directly to psychological safety. Okay, building on that foundation, let's talk about scheduling meetings well in advance. Sounds obvious, maybe, basic calendar management, but does scheduling way ahead ever make things feel too rigid? Like, what if something urgent pops up? Are you stuck? Does it kill spontaneity?
That's a fair question. It's a real tension. Scheduling ahead definitely helps get everyone needed into the virtual room. That's key. But the real benefit, I think, is giving people time to actually prepare. When folks have lead time, they can look at the data, read the documents, actually think things through. The discussion ends up being much more focused.
Okay.
And about that rigidity concern, the idea isn't about setting something in stone. It's more about having a working agenda. So it's not just a list. It could have pre-reads, maybe frameworks for decisions, even a parking lot for things that come up but aren't the main focus right then.
Okay.
It makes the agenda a tool, something that guides you but can adapt. It provides structure that actually allows for flexibility rather than forcing rigidity, especially important when you're not physically together.
Right, so we got the welcoming start for safety, and then this idea of a structured, prepared meeting using a working agenda. But what happens when things get tense? When there's disagreement, maybe even conflict? The book talks about handling conflicts outside the main meeting. That might sound a bit like avoiding the issue to some people.
Mm.
How does that actually help the group? And doesn't it risk letting problems just simmer if they're not tackled head on?
Yeah, you're right to flag that. It's crucial to distinguish between smartly redirecting conflict and just plain avoiding it. Taking it offline works because it keeps the main meeting focused on its goals. It stops people from feeling attacked or getting defensive in front of everybody.
Hmm.
You know how one heated argument can just derail the whole meeting? Sucks the energy right out. So instead, you acknowledge the disagreement, you validate its importance, but you say, okay, this needs a proper discussion. Let's schedule a separate time for it, maybe a one-on-one or a smaller group.
So you do address it, just not right then and there.
Exactly. The point isn't to ignore problems. It's about smart conflict management. You acknowledge it quickly. That's a really important point. Let's make sure we dig into that properly right after this call, and then you actually schedule that follow-up. This keeps the main meeting on track, respects the agenda, and usually allows for a calmer, more productive resolution later. It protects the group's ability to move forward together.
That makes a lot of sense. Choosing the right time and place for those tougher conversations. Okay, let's switch gears now and talk about some common pitfalls. Things that often trip teams up in virtual meetings. First one, this idea that it's okay if some people are just silent. Oh, they're quiet, just let them be.
Mm.
How does that passive participation really impact the team, especially if we're aiming for that safety we talked about? And what about different personalities, like introverts?
Oh, this let them be idea is actually pretty damaging to team effectiveness. It's a real drain. When people are silent, whether they choose to be or feel they can't speak up, you're essentially reducing the team's collective brain power.
Right. You're losing input.
Exactly. You're leaving insights, questions, potential solutions just sitting there, untapped. And good teams need diverse perspectives, right? Now, you mentioned introverts, and that's a great point. Silence doesn't always mean disengagement. Some people need to process internally first.
True.
So the facilitator's role here is really crucial. They need to actively create pathways for everyone to contribute. This doesn't mean forcing people to talk on the spot. It could be things like sharing topics beforehand so people can think, maybe using structured rounds where everyone gets a turn, or even using chat or shared docs during the meeting.
Different ways in.
Yes, it's about making sure everyone can contribute, not just the loudest or fastest speakers. It reinforces that idea that all perspectives are actually wanted. It loops back to that safety thing again.
Yeah, enabling contribution, not demanding it. That's a key difference. Okay, next pitfall, another common one. The belief that you don't really need an agenda. We'll just talk, the topics will come up naturally. Why is this winging it approach such a bad idea, especially remotely? What are the real downsides?
The downsides are pretty immediate and pretty significant. No agenda almost always leads to disorganization. You waste a ton of time. People get confused. Conversations drift all over the place. You end up talking about things that aren't relevant or maybe repeating discussions. It's just inefficient.
Frustrating, too, I bet.
Hugely frustrating. Agendas, especially that working agenda idea we mentioned, are vital. They provide the map. It's not just a topic list, it's a structure. Clear goals for the meeting, maybe even rough timings. This is even more important online where it's so easy to get distracted.
Right, like checking email.
Exactly. Without that agenda, you're kind of flying blind. And it needs to fit the meeting type, right? A brainstorm agenda is different from a decision-making one. Gently keeping people focused on that agenda respects everyone's time and makes sure you actually achieve what you set out to do.
Clarity and structure, absolutely key. Okay, final counterproductive habit we want to hit on. This happens all the time. An unexpected issue pops up, and the default is, okay, let's put that in the parking lot and move on, maybe hoping to get to it at the very end. Why isn't just deferring everything automatically the best strategy? How do you balance staying on track with dealing with something important that just emerged?
Yeah, the parking lot is useful, but it shouldn't just be a place where good ideas go to die. Just automatically deferring everything can be a mistake. Sometimes an issue that comes up is actually urgent or super relevant to the main discussion. Ignoring it might block progress.
Or it just gets forgotten?
Or it gets forgotten entirely in the last minute rush. So the key isn't rigid adherence versus chaos. It's thoughtful flexibility. When something unexpected surfaces, the person leading the meeting needs to make a quick judgment call. Is this urgent? Is it relevant now? Maybe it's a quick clarification that helps everyone address it right there. But if it's bigger, more complex, needs more time or different people, then you acknowledge it, make it clear it's valued, and actively schedule it. Don't just vaguely say, we'll get to it. Say, okay, important point. Let's set up a specific follow-up for that, or let's add this to next week's agenda.
Yeah.
It shows respect for the issue and for people's time without derailing the current meeting's main purpose.
Wow, okay. That's a really practical look at making these virtual meetings actually work well. So wrapping this up for you, our listener,
Yeah.
what's the big picture here? It seems like truly effective phone meetings need, well, careful planning. Those working agendas are key. Plus, active participation, making sure everyone feels they can chime in, and then that adaptive flexibility, knowing when to stick to the plan and when to adjust thoughtfully. Getting that balance right between structure and inclusivity, that really seems to be the secret sauce.
Absolutely. And what's really striking is how these aren't massive, earth-shattering changes, are they? Simple adjustments like starting with a quick chat, managing conflicts smartly, ensuring agendas are used well. They can have a genuinely huge impact on how well a team works together remotely. It really boosts cohesion and the actual value you get from these interactions. So maybe a question for you, listening right now. Think about your recent virtual meetings. Can you pinpoint just one thing, maybe something useful to start doing or something counterproductive to stop doing that could make your next call significantly better?
That's a great takeaway question. And if you want to go deeper into effective project communication, team dynamics, and just making projects succeed overall, we definitely recommend checking out the book we drew from today, Project Management for Project Managers by Orlando Casabon.